Hi, everyone. Dr. Victoria Scarbo here. So, in today's episode of Conversations with Friends, show number 6, we're going to meet Jackie. Jackie is a medium. She is also a reflexologist and a massage therapist that has a healing practice on Cape Cod called Swan Heart Wellness. Um, and I think you're going to really enjoy this. Jackie is lovely and full of spirit, and uh, and I'm really excited for you to meet her. So, without further ado, we'll welcome Jackie. Hi, everyone. Dr. Victoria Scarbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today, we're having another show, Conversations with Friends. I believe this might be the 6th show, and today we have my friend Jackie.
Hello.
So Jackie is actually a new friend. I just met Jackie, but as oftentimes when you meet somebody, even if you just met them, you have an instant connection. And I felt a real connection with Jackie. And Jackie is actually a medium. And I thought her, talking about her mediumship and her journey towards how she found herself to be a medium, because most people don't start that way. uh, but it seems a lot of people sort of ends, come to this place through a very circuitous journey, with all kinds of signposts and stuff along the way. And so, why don't you just give us a little idea of, you know, how you've, whatever you're comfortable sharing with about yourself and your journey
Oh,
towards becoming a medium.
absolutely. Hello. Um, well, I think, like many people that I know who are mediums or intuitives or feel a connection to spirit and the spirit world, it started as a very young child. I have memories of being very young and feeling and seeing spirit in my bedroom, talking in my head to other spirit people. And being quite fearful of it in some respect. And but speaking to my parents about it, there was a lot of eye rolling and, oh, don't be silly. So when you're told that as a young child, I think you feel, well, it's not real, so maybe it is my imagination. And to be honest, I've always felt in tune with that world, and I can think about it going into my teen years. But then I went to college. I studied drama. And then when I was 19, I moved to London and worked in a few restaurants and bars for many years, trying to get acting work. Um, and then I really believe it was just switched off. And then I got a job in the fashion industry. I was an agent for about 17 years for models and personalities and talent. And that actually brought me to America.
Hmm.
And that was in 2004. And I worked as an agent. It was a very stressful job, and that was my focus. So really, I wasn't thinking about the spirit world or anything to do with that. But then I took a career break in 2007, and I took a few months off to really figure out what resonated with me. What did I feel? If I was going to do another job, I had to ask myself, what would that be? What do I really want to be? And I felt a little lost. And but then I had reflexology. I had a slip disc, and I've always had back issues. When I lived in London, in my old job, there was a wonderful lady called Rita. Used to come to our office and give us reflexology in the fire escape. And she really stayed with me. And because when I was having it with her, my back issues started to clear up. I felt really good. So I was like, I wonder if I can learn that. Where should I go? So I found a course, and I went and studied that for about 6 months. And then that led me to go to massage therapy school. So I started getting into holistic healthcare therapies. And then I set up my own practice. Now I remember this. There was a lady who came in, and I thought I was seeing things because I started seeing blue light come off her when I was working on her.
Right.
And then I started seeing this happen with lots of different clients. So I started questioning it again. And then I got a job in a hospital in Chicago when I moved there, and working with clients on a very regular basis with reflexology. I started to sense things medically and through energy. I just used to have visions, but I never voiced them. I would just, think about it and again wonder. And then when I moved to Massachusetts, I set up my own practice here, and I started doing a lot of work with a few clients who were battling cancer. And one of the sessions I clearly remember with a client, it was so clear. I had a lady's voice talking to me in my ear, saying that she was her mother, she had passed, and that she was there for her, and that she knew. And I in my head, I was having this conversation. I was like, well, I can't really tell. And she's like, please. And I was like, back and forth. And I said, well, you have to give me one thing so she'll know it's you. And she said, tell her I knew she lost her wedding ring yesterday.
Wow.
So I stuck up the courage at the end of the session, and I asked permission. I said, I hope you don't mind. And, if you think this is a little offbeat, but would you mind, I have you lost your mother? Is she in the spirit world? And she said, yes, she is. And she was very open to listening. And I said, I came through with a name and it was correct. And even I was surprised. And I said, and she mentioned that you lost your wedding ring yesterday. Well, she jumped off the table. She was like, oh my God, I did. So at that point was a real turning point for me, because I made that connection that what was coming through was very real. And I started going on a journey. And I will say that was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And since then, I went and studied energy medicine so that I could understand more about energy medicine and energy. And I joined my local spiritualist church and have been on a mediumship development course with them for a couple of years so far. And I've gone to various different workshops with various different mediums who are very respected. And then I mentor with a medium as well in London right now. So I've really sort of, over the last few years, developed this gift. I will call it a gift because I see it as very healing work. Right. But that's really what led me up to where I am now. And now I give private readings and group readings, do mediumship demonstrations, and I love this work. I love it. It's very healing spiritual work.
Yes. Because the careers you've had previously would have been considered glamorous and wow, look at her, but without having that sense of satisfaction within yourself, it becomes sort of a mask that we wear and we put on. That after a while we can no longer. It's almost like gets heavier and heavier, and the mask has to come off, and we have to be like authentically who we are. Yes. And you are somebody who wants to be of service. I mean, even in being an agent for famous people, talk about being a servant and having to do that. Because I had a sister who sort of was in a similar kind of work, and she was dealing with musicians, mostly males, and she was like a little bit of a thing. And she would have to like tell these guys who were like, big rock stars, get over yourself. And, so, it's not the easiest thing. And it is a stressful situation. And so you have to like question where do you want to spend your time? And sometimes spirit tells us where we're going to spend our time, I think, whether we like it or not.
Yes, when they give us a pandemic.
Exactly. And so you had a viable massage and reflexology practice before the pandemic struck, and now, like myself, we can't really touch people physically.
Yes physically, but we can still touch people.
That's right.
Yes, I mean, with my practice, very busy practice, so grateful. But now with our situation, our current worldly situation worldwide, it's made me go a lot more inward. I think we're on our 6th week. I don't even know what day it is.
I know, neither do I.
But being I'm connecting more. I'm connecting energetically more. Going outside. I've never been outside so much. Going for lots of walks, connecting with the Earth's energy and tree energy, and I feel a lot more connected. Yeah. And spirit is a connection. It's a connection between two worlds, or two energetic worlds, and my connections are a lot stronger. And I know that some people think, well, how can you connect through a computer? And I used to answer that question. But the connection's there. It's an energetic exchange. Yeah. Energy can travel, and I've been doing some readings virtually with groups and just one-on-one, and the connections are so strong right now.
Yes.
And I really feel I'm being guided and taught more from the spirit world into that connection, and how I can continue to be of service and help others, because that's what I want to continue doing. So if I can't physically touch people or be in person with someone to help them, I feel that there's nothing going to stop me from continuing to try and help them in other ways.
Right.
And it's forcing me to be more creative, less fearful, and just be present more than anything each day, because each day is different.
Right.
Exactly. And home life and child and school and all that stuff. So.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting how this. Well, to speak of your connection to spirit, to nature, where I am here, we have about an acre of land, and it's kind of wild. There's what do you call that? The kind of land you can't build on. It's like swampy in the back. There's a I can't think of the word. Sorry.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean, right? So it's very like there's a lot of nature in even though I'm in a town, right? But the other night I went out, and the peep frogs were so loud that you couldn't hear anything else. It was it's like it filled your head. And I know that, yeah. And I know that I've heard them before, but I've never heard them like that. Yeah. And, the fact that we're not in our cars going from point A to point B, and the air is cleaner. And when the storms come through, we had a storm, when I actually started this conversations with friends, my first friend that I spoke to, who's an empath, we're in the middle of it, and it was that I think it was a Friday, and it was that crazy storm, or maybe it was a Monday, and it sort of windy, really, really windy, and we lost electricity right at the end of it. So she was sort of like, because she was in a different town, she was just sort of like hanging there. But that whole experience, it was just so elemental. After the storm, I went out, and there were a million stars in the sky, and the peep frogs were so loud, and it's like nature is reasserting herself in a way. And I think it's beholding for us who are lucky enough to be able to go out in our yards, or go out in places where we're not going to be close to people, that we can connect, and we're getting a lot of energy from that. And I do believe that humanity is a bridge between the earthly realm and the spiritual realm. And so we are kind of like, and so what it sounds like you're doing, and what I'm doing, and what we're opening up to, is just becoming a wider and wider bridge. Yeah. The energies to and it's not just spirit coming down, but it's earth coming up.
I mean, I'm a big believer that all human beings can connect with spirit. And I've lived in a city. I lived in London, I've lived in New York, lived in Chicago, and interestingly, then I moved to Cape Cod, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And I first moved here, the shift in me was quite strong. It took me quite a few months to be okay with living here. Interesting, but I grew up in the middle of nowhere. And I do make a comparison with this, because when I was growing up in the middle of nowhere, I used to go off on my own, go find the cows or the sheep and go for loads of walks. And I was very in tune. I used to see, feel spirit all the time.
Right.
Then I go off to, my life, moved to London. I was very shut down. But it was when I really moved to Cape Cod and I started getting out more and surrounded by nature, that's when the connections got really strong for me, because I feel I was getting more in tune with this natural rhythm of the earth and natural spirit energy. And even now, something I've noted, most days I get up, I take my daughter to school, drive to work, then I'm in my room all day, and then I pick my daughter up and, do things. I'm going on these walks. I've never noticed spring here before. Like each day I'm like, what's budding now? What leaves are on the trees? I'm making notes of all this. And in doing that, I'm feeling much more connected. It gives me a sense of peace, just being out there. Right. That each day I wake up now, it's the first thing I do, because some days you're like, oh, another day, what's coming next? And it's just the sense of unknown. That's the one thing that keeps me grounded. And I just go out, and then I feel connected, then I feel I've got more energy, and things just keep coming. And I'm a big believer of, your thoughts can manifest whatever it is we want to manifest.
Absolutely.
And the more connected I am, the more things are coming my way with this work. And I always ask, how can I be of service? And I've always thought that putting it out there, whoever needs something from me at this time will somehow find me, and I will be able to help them. But the connection with the earth that we live in is very important, particularly with this work.
Yes. Yeah. So if people wanted to connect with you and maybe get a reading, or maybe be part of you say you do Zoom, like group readings and stuff like that, right? How would they, what's the easiest way to?
The easiest way is to either, you can go onto my website, which is www.swanheartwellness.com. And that's swan as in the bird and heart as a beating heart, because I know I've got a funny accent. So some people are like, One Heart Wellness. I'm like, no, swanheartwellness.com. And I've got an online services page, and I'm doing soul guidance readings and private mediumship readings, group readings. I also, I'm part of the Spiritualist Church in Onset, lovely little church. And then a friend of mine is the assistant pastor at Swampscott Spiritualist Church. So me and her have joined forces as well, and we're doing some group events. It's all there on my website. And just give me a call or shoot me an email, and I'll get back to you. I'm also open to doing workshops or whatever. So
Right. Awesome. So you said something about soul guidance.
Soul guidance and intuitive readings. A soul guidance reading is where I connect with another soul's energy. So my soul's energy connects with the person, the receiver's soul's energy, and I get downloads and visions of what may be going on with that person even before they came to this world, and maybe what is their purpose, what's their life's journey, what's their life's path, and then guide that person into the now where they are, and maybe where they need to put their energy in moving forward. And I think, being in a pandemic right now, we all might be wondering, what now? What next? Right. So many of us are in different situations, and the struggle is, I really believe, collectively. So just having some guidance can really help give you some focus as to where can I be putting my energies right now.
Right.
Yes.
The benefit of crisis, which of course, and I think one of the things that we lose focus a little bit of is that the crisis isn't just here. The crisis is that's why it's pandemic, it's all over the world. And so we're seeing our own lives change,
Mhm.
but we have to keep in somewhere in our consciousness that this is a collective a collective shift. And I believe it is a collective shift to a new way of relating to the planet
Mhm.
that we're on. I mean, we're in the middle of, I guess, scientists, I don't know which extinction it is, but there's like some sort of mass extinction. And quite frankly, the earth doesn't need us.
Mhm.
Right? So
Mhm.
we have to get into a better relationship with her.
Yeah.
And I think that this is part of this whole process. It's not just, um, and I also think it's a shift in the structure of governments and how we govern people and how we interact with people and seeing our commonality,
Yeah.
seeing our connectedness. So I think that's part of the
I think it is very important, and it's interesting. What I've noticed is, I'm very fortunate. I live right on the bike path, and obviously we're all being careful and using social distancing, and it's pretty quiet. Sometimes at the weekend there's a few people about, but everyone's being respectful of everybody. But when it first happened, everyone with eyes were down. Nobody would say hello.
right.
Everyone's like, oh, if I look at you, will I get it? And
Yeah, exactly.
um, and I've noticed a shift in that, even with spring blooming, is that now people are saying we can look each other in the eye. We might have a mask on, but we can still smile. We can still acknowledge one another and know that, hey, your struggle and my struggle there might be very different kinds of struggles, but we're all in this. And I think so many people, if we can also reach out to one another and help one another and stay connected, we will all get through this.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that we will get through this. I feel, although we're struggling, many of us, there will be some form of, I'm trying to put it into words, and I feel this, of growth and transformation,
Right. Right.
planetary,
Fun.
and also with our own little lives,
Right.
so that we have to keep just focusing and moving forward each
Right.
day.
Right.
Each day.
Um, for me, well, first of all, we're in the vibration of 2020, which is a 4 vibration, and 4 in numerology can be crisis and opportunity. And what crisis does is it brings us into the present moment. We have to just think about what's in front of us, and what's in front of us can be our either our satisfaction or our dissatisfaction with our life and the way things are going, and then in the moment making better choices for yourself, and finding that, and not everybody has access to their intuition, not everybody has access to nature, and so I think you as a healer, even though you're not touching people, are giving a great service to people, because you're giving them a space where they can imagine, or you're giving them a connection with something that perhaps they only dreamed was possible, right? Somehow that connection to spirit and that connection to nature and that soul connection um, can really foster and nurture that sense of, it's okay being who you are. All your experiences have brought you to this place.
Yeah.
And now you can, even if you feel you've made poor choices, and we all have
Yeah.
felt that we've made poor choices, whether or not they were poor choices or not is up for debate. But they've all brought us to this place, right? And so we're here to serve one another. We're here to help and shine lights where there was darkness. And I think, I know we talked a little before we got on and actually started recording, the sort of very the long and winding road, to borrow from another Brit, uh, that we all travel, and those moments where you're like, what the heck just happened, or where am I, or why am I doing this? Oh my God, I think we all have that, and I think it informs us so that we can be of service to people who are in that position now.
Yeah.
I think that I think deciding whenever we decide to be a healer, probably before we get into the life, we feel, oh yeah, that's a good idea, and then we get in here and we're like, oh my God, what was I thinking? Um, but when you do hit your stride and you do find your place and you do open up to that thing that really makes your soul sing, then you're like, everything was worth it. And so I think that we can, as people who have sort of traveled a strange and different kind of road than a lot of people have, to know that, in the end, it's a beautiful thing, and you can, overcome anything with both loving yourself and giving yourself the time, and then asking for help from people who are there to help you.
Yes. I mean, I believe that we're souls on a human journey. And I see that souls and spirit is such beautiful, pure light. And we all have that within us, all of us.
Yeah.
And sometimes our light might be a little dimmer, and then it needs to shine a little brighter. But if we can really go within, we all have that soul's energy, that light energy, that loving energy within us. So finding that and lighting it up, finding tools and ways to do that.
Right.
And for me, I've always found meditation so helpful in doing that, and I do a daily practice, and now I have time to actually do a little meditation. But we're all human and we're all going through this. Yeah, it's just finding your light within can really help.
And shining it.
We'll have it. Everybody.
And shine on, shine on. All right, Jackie, this was really a pleasure. Is there anything else that you feel you need to share, or you want to say, or?
I don't think so. I think that's really it. Yeah. God save the Queen. There we go.
I want to say something about that, if you don't mind. We promised we weren't going to talk about politics, but I do have to say this.
Her birthday today, I think.
Excuse me?
It's the Queen's birthday today.
Oh my God, how old is she now? 94?
94, I think. I should know.
94? Yeah.
Happy birthday to the Queen, that's all I have to
say. Continue going, Queen, because she's lived a long time. But she was on a couple of weeks ago, and she did like a 3-minute or a 5-minute little thing with her little brooch, her little turquoise brooch, and sitting there. And she's just so, and I like it better when she doesn't wear the crown. I like it better when she's just sitting there talking like she's your nana, And she like spent 5 minutes saying something. And every day here in America, you don't have to, but every day in America, our leader is out there. And I say our leader very, just because, okay. So, and he says nothing, and he just makes you feel more insecure and more crazy. In 5 minutes, she just like, and I'm not a big, I know the English and the United Kingdom, they love their queen for the most part. And of course, I'm from America, and I'm like, no queens, no kings, how we are here. But when I listened to her, she made me cry.
Yeah.
She made me cry, and I was like, oh my God, I just sat down with my Nana, and she made me feel good. And I think that that's a true. Yeah. So the fact that you brought her up, I just wanted to say that I thought she did a fabulous job. And
brings everybody together.
Yeah.
And I think it made everyone feel that we're in this together, and that there are better days ahead. And I think we all need to focus that there are better days ahead. Right. It's the unknown of that, but there will be better days ahead.
Yes.
I'm absolutely certain of that. And that's what I try and focus on.
Yeah. And the other thing that I notice is I'm generally optimistic, but I almost feel like I'm optimistic on steroids right now. And then I'm super creative. Like I can't shut off. Like I keep getting these ideas and these creative ideas. And I'm like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. And I have like a list of things that I want to do that for some reason there wasn't that access before this happened. And I don't know why that is. I'm not exactly sure.
think we got ourselves, I know this for me, into not what's the word, a pattern of living, really, of a daily life, how our lives are. For many of us, you know, getting into that life's pattern. This is what we do every day, and then the weekends are for this. But not having time really, and occasionally, I mean, I would always get ideas while I'm driving the car, but then I couldn't implement them because there's too much going on.
Right.
But now I'm like, okay, oh, that's a good idea, and I get straight to it, you know, when I can. So and it's great. I actually thought about writing the other day. I used to write as a kid and write poems and all that, and I was like, oh, I could do that with my daughter. We could write a poem and then draw pictures with it and stuff, and creatively doing things, and also thinking about how can I help somebody else through this. So another thing just to know, I am also doing little videos with at-home relaxation techniques and reflexology techniques to use on if you are living with someone, on each other, and they're completely free, and I post them on my Facebook page.
Okay, all right. I'll put a link to your Facebook page as well.
If you want to.
Yeah, and maybe what you can do for me is once we get off, you can just send me all your links and then I can put them in.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's been a real pleasure, Jackie. Thank you so much for being willing to do this.
Thank you. No, this is lovely.
And who knows, we might get to talk again.
Yes.
Who knows how, you know, now that we're friends.
Yay. Virtual friends.
Yes, yes.
We've not met each other yet, except
not yet. We haven't a chance to elbow bump, or, you know, hopefully someday we'll be able to hug. I look forward to the day when I can actually hug people. You know, I was raised by Italians, and like hugging is like oxygen to us. So.
Oh yes, not me. I love to give them. But receiving them, I'm like, okay, that's great. All right, goodbye.
That's enough. A different culture thing, but you know, all the same. That's the nice thing about this virtual stuff. We can hug as much as we want, and the culture doesn't get in the way. All right, honey. Well, you take care of yourself. I'm going to stop the recording.
All right. Have a good day.
You too, honey. Hold on.
Bye.
Okay. Oh, there we go.